Welcome back. Firefield Vision, powered by Novacare. Kevin Egan, assistant coach Mark Bircham here in the Chicago Fire dressing room. Mark, wild match, crazy conditions, but the Fire come away with a 1-1 draw. Maybe a fair result?
Yeah, it was. It was a game of, well, I was going to say 2 hours, but it's like 4 quarters really, with the starting and stopping. And I think that took its toll on us in the last 20 minutes, definitely. I think when we've had the game midweek, which was a high-intense game, probably the high-intensity as distance covered and stuff all season. Then we travelled down to Orlando and just, it's hard, mentally draining for the players when you have to keep building yourself up, go for the warm-up, come back in, then do it all again, and then like you kick off 2 hours after you're meant to be, really. So that's a bit of a drain of us, but both teams tried to go for the winner. But again, another poor decision by the officials to call the goal off. Really, we should be going in minimum, we should have gone 2-0 up, and then it's a completely different game.
I gave Periscope a go for the first time during that lightning delay, and a lot of the fans were asking, what are the players doing right now? How do you keep their focus? Or what exactly are they doing? Just listening to music, maybe relaxing?
It's hard because if you're at home, realistically, you have exercise bikes, you have stuff to do. I don't know, they might have had that, and I think they did, but with us, it's playing a bit of two-touch, playing a bit of music, stretching, and trying to keep yourself busy, really. Strangely, I've never been in that situation before, so it was hard, but we've tried to keep them going, and every time we did come out, we started quite well. But as I said, I think it's more draining mentally when you're there in the stadium, you're in a room with no windows, and it's draining, yeah.
Luckily, it was a big enough dressing room.
Yeah, it was massive, yeah.
So looking ahead to the match against Montreal, Frank Lopez gets fired, in comes Mauro Biello. How does that change things from your standpoint as a player? When you had a new coach come in, did you get that fresh impetus, or is it difficult to turn it around so fast?
It's a toss for coin how players react sometimes. If they did enjoy the manager and the manager gets sacked, and some players, it's like every time a manager, there's a change. There'll be some players that are happy with it, and there'll be some players that are disappointed with it. And it's just, as I said, it's like 50-50 how the players are going to react. Are they going to come out fighting and thinking here's a new chance? Are they going to think, oh, this man's only temporary in charge and we can take advantage of it?
What have you seen from Montreal?
Yeah, we've seen them. We watched the game before our game as well against Toronto, and they've got pace. They like to attack. They've got players who are comfortable on the ball. Of course, you got Didier there now, so we know what he's about. But it's hard, and it's hard for us because we are missing a few players. So we have to go in, check with the fitness of the players. Now we had a couple of players carrying stuff going into Montreal. But really, like we said it before, it is a cup final for us. And I think both teams, a bit like the Orlando game, both teams are trying to go for it. I know it ended up a draw, but it'd be the same, I think, at Montreal. I think they want to win it and we want to win it because I think whoever does win it, it gives you a momentum and it gives you a great step ladder to carrying on and hopefully getting in the playoffs.
Mark, best of luck.
Cheers. Pleasure.
So a bit of a wild match then against Orlando away from home. The match finishing well after Dan Kelly's bedtime. So a good result potentially for the Chicago Fire, given that Kaká and Rivas had really good chances. One thing that I thought really stood out to me was the performances of Mikey Stevens, but mainly Jeff Larentowicz at centre-back. I thought he was absolutely superb, particularly in the second half. I'm going to show you some clips now of Big Red, the captain, performing at his peak on Saturday evening. First off, I want to pause it right here. Now we see the shape at the back for Chicago, I think, is very poor at this point, knowing that if it breaks down and if Orlando can turn the ball over, Jeff Larentowicz is completely isolated at the back, and you've got the player who's going for Rookie of the Year, Kyle Larin, in a 1v1 situation. Just look at the back four. What you want to see is Jovan Jones tucking inside, or you want to see Razvan Kocic or Mikey Stevens, just one of those guys, tucking a little bit back while Eric Gehrig goes forward on the right-hand side, and just give that protection. If you roll it on, you'll see that when Matt Polster gives the ball away, Orlando break nice and fast. The ball is picked out, Rivas, straight through to Kyle Larin, and off he goes to the races. Now it's a 1v1 situation, a dangerous scenario, but the big captain, Jeff Larentowicz, stands up, doesn't dive in, and in the end times his tackle to perfection. A quality challenge from Jeff Larentowicz. Now the next one. His anticipation is something to keep an eye on here. Just watch as the ball is played to Kaká between the lines. Larentowicz steps, doesn't matter. World Player of the Year from 2007, doesn't make a difference to Larentowicz. This clip here, keeping an eye on Kyle Larin. Now he sees Kaká coming through. He retreats and gets his head on it. Again, quality, anticipation. Once more, watch Jeff Larentowicz. Now he steps to Kaká, again playing between the lines, and starts an attack for the Fire. And finally, if you pause it right here, keep an eye on the lane inside the box that's developed for Aurélien Collin to make that darting run. And the ball gets played through. And if you roll it on, watch Larentowicz's challenge here. Gets his head on it, puts his body on the line, and starts the attack for the Fire. These things can often go unnoticed, but this sets up David Accam for that electric final attack for the Fire. It was very nearly a winner late on. Sublime pace and technical ability from David Accam was very close, but all in all, I thought it was an exceptional performance from the captain. I think it was his best performance, certainly in the second half, at centre-back since reverting back there last season. So, focus now shifts to Montreal. That away win, that elusive away win, needs to happen soon. It hasn't happened since July 12th of last year. Montreal now away 2 times before the season ends. This Saturday's match is absolutely huge. Frank Klopas, former Fire manager and legend here at the club, has been sacked. Mauro Biello comes in. So how will things change? Well, one thing we know for sure is that Laurent Ciman, their defender of the year so far, is ruled out. And I actually think that might work well for them rather than the Fire. Of late, I've found that the Belgian has been so rash in challenges, has found himself out of position, and he's been a bit of a liability of late. So I'm going to show you a couple of clips that I think illustrate that as well as possible. Just watch here as we see Laurent Ciman. If you slow it down, and you'll see that Ciman just diving in. The quickest feet in Major League Soccer. Sebastian Giovinco just draws a yellow card. Ciman actually gets sent off in this game. Now if you freeze it here, you'll see Laurent Ciman. What is he doing positionally? Steps out, raises his arm, looking for offside. Not sure what he's thinking in this scenario, but if we roll it on, Philadelphia break through. Watch Ciman's positioning as he tracks back. Gets drawn toward the ball instead of coming back into a central area. Not sure what he's doing. He's trying to help out his fullback, but when the ball comes across, he's nowhere to be seen, and Sébastien Letou puts it in the back of the net. So I think Montreal will revert to the basics. Lefebvre may come in alongside Cabrera at the back, and they will try and just hold it down and keep to the basics. But a chance for the Fire, surely. Depleted side, knowing that there's a lot of players away on international duty for both teams, but a chance for the Fire to really go there and make a statement this weekend. It is on CSN once more, we're glad to say. Pre-game show starts at 6:30 Central, with the match kicking off at 7 o'clock.